EA Sports, it's haram to be gay. So apparently the world is ending because EA got sold to a Saudi-backed company. Game journalists and activists are having a collective meltdown, calling this the worst thing to ever happen to gaming. And of course, BioWare and all the gay stuff is right at the center of the drama. Well, I hate to break it to you, but not everything is about your confused spare parts. This is bigger than that. In fact, it's kind of the first bit of good news I've heard in gaming in a long time, but more on that in a bit. Now, there is a lot of confusion online with game journalists making it sound like doomsday for EA. So I'm gonna break down exactly what this leveraged buyout means in the simplest way possible, using my superior video editing skills. Just imagine you want to buy a duck for $10, but you don't want to drop all the 10 from your pocket, so you put in 6 of your own and borrow 4 from the bank. Now let's suppose this duck lays 6 eggs every month. You sell each one for $1. That's $6 of revenue. Now since you owe the bank, they say, give us $1 every month until your debt is cleared or we take the duck. So you pay them $1 while keeping 5 to yourself. Now, you take good care of the duck. Feed it, vaccinate it, deworm it, and eventually maybe it lays even more eggs. That's more revenue and of course more profit. You're making money, slowly paying off debt and building value. Now you might be wondering, why not just straight up buy the duck with the 10 bucks? Good question. Let's suppose you want to sell the duck for $15. If you bought it for 10, that's a 50% return on investment. Not bad actually. But with leverage you only paid $6. When you sell the duck for 15, pay off your debt, you're left with $11. So basically you invested 6, but now you've got 11. That's an 83% ROI. That's how this EA deal works. With a lot more zeros and a ton of lawyers, of course. EA is the duck. FIFA, Apex Legends, Battlefield are the eggs. As long as the new leadership keeps EA healthy, deworms it for parasites, the eggs cover the debt and then some. So no, EA is not collapsing under debt or facing immense pressure from the get-go. It's just how this stuff happens. But yes, you can expect a lot of cost cutting to boost profits. And this cost cutting is basically the deworming process for parasites that has all these activists losing their minds. Cause let's be real here. BioWare hasn't made a financially successful game in like 10 years now. So even if the Saudis didn't buy EA, the future of BioWare was already looking grim. Not to mention the ton of layoffs that came after Dragon Age the Whale Guard in the first place. But of course no one cried about that because they were all busy covering for the Whale Guard's embarrassing flop and trying to frame it as a success somehow. However, now they found the perfect scapegoat in case Mass Effect 5 doesn't happen, completely ignoring the fact that their own failures paved the path that led to all this. And now they make a big deal out of how guns and football is in, but the gay stuff is out. Okay, first of all, this post from Patrick Weeks had me weak.
Fuck out of here and go to the...
It's just crazy that no matter what happens at the end of the day, all these people can think of is just gender and sexuality. These people have an unhealthy obsession with that stuff. But anyhow, here's the thing. The Saudis are not stupid. No one pours $55 billion into something just for pushing ideologies or firing LGBT staff. These people want to make money while also improving their soft power. Now the thing is, EA isn't just BioWare or Dragon Age. Their real money comes from FIFA, Apex Legends, Need for Speed, massive games that also happen to be hugely popular in the Middle East. And since Andrew Wilson will continue to lead the company, it's completely possible that they just take a back seat and let things work out as they do without interfering too much, because it's still a profitable business. Now the Saudis, they want to diversify their economy, invest in growth, and shake off the old stereotypes about them. And since gaming is one of the biggest industries in the world and has great culture and influence, why not jump in? When they make another good Battlefield game, nobody's gonna be like, oh, this is a Saudi game, I'll go buy Call of Duty instead. Nobody will say that. If a game's good and it's actually made for the gamers, people will buy it. Same way they buy the Chinese or Korean games. Now this might shock the Reddit crowd, but games only make money when people actually buy them. So to all the people who are concerned about BioWare, let's be real. If it made any money, it wouldn't be going anywhere. And that's the thing. The quote-unquote gay stuff does not sell. Period. It doesn't sell because nobody wants this crap in their games. People play games for escapism, not to get preached at about pronouns after a long tiring day. And it's not me just saying that. The numbers back this up. So I'm sorry that no one wants your gay stuff. I truly am. But that's the truth. Get mad. Now one more question is, will the Saudis just swoop in yelling and ban everything LGBT? I might be wrong, but to be honest, I don't think so. However, they will surely tone it all down to a reasonable level where inclusion actually feels like inclusion and not invasion. This makes sense because they too want to capture a broader audience and they would never want to alienate a big chunk of Western gamers. But are the layoffs coming? Most likely yes. These bloated HR and DEI departments are definitely going out the door as soon as the new leadership realizes that they are just dead weight sucking up money. Once again, just making it clear that this is not because of ideologies but simply because worshipping DEI shit does not make you money. None of this would have happened in the first place if they just focused on making good games and hired passionate devs instead of political activists. EA wouldn't be sold and BioWare wouldn't be dying. So it's all their own fault. It's their own fault that Ubisoft is getting acquired by a Chinese company, and it's their own fault that EA is getting acquired by a Saudi company. From like a decade, gamers have been shouting at the top of their lungs just to stop with all the nonsense. But they just ignored us all. And not just that, they just kept screeching bigot and every kind of phobic at anyone who spoke out, even in the most reasonable way possible. And they still haven't learned a single thing. Look at Insomniac posting shit like this when gamers point out Mystique's hideous character design. I mean, your game's already raising eyebrows because it's tied to Sweet Baby Inc. Your last game, Spider-Man 2, sold a third of what the first one did, and now you're doubling down by pissing off your fans? This is the exact same attitude EA had when Battlefield 5 came out not so long ago. And look at how that turned out. But anyways, there are two ways how I see this going. I could be wrong though, so take it all with a grain of salt. Either EA improves and gives us good games, which is obviously a win for the gamers, or it doesn't. Which, to be honest, makes no difference whatsoever because EA already sucks and it'll probably die. But it's still a win, because if EA dies, there will be less garbage games flooding the market. So yeah, all in all, this is a great news for gamers. Anyways, I'll leave you at that. Do let everyone know in the comments down below what are your thoughts on this historic buyout. Also, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Until next time, take care.